All right, guys, so I get asked a ton, how do I see my abs? How do I get my abs? What's the best exercises for my abs? And so we're gonna do a little, we'll call this an online class. I'm gonna explain to you exactly the best way to strengthen your core, to see your abs, and to protect your back while doing it. Because a lot of common ab exercises are not the best idea. And a lot of them, they cause more harm than good. So this is my, my model Peter. And so here's what your abs, so this is the front, right? And here's where your stomach is, this is where your abs are. So your abs are designed to do is to stabilize and protect your spine and your torso during movement. So when you squat and do things, motion should come from your hips with your abs stabilized and everything, all right? So the most common ab exercise we get is sit-ups and crunchies, sit-ups and crunchies. So imagine if you're standing, it's just kind of a funky thing to flex in that position. But if you can come in a little closer, Peter, here's what's happening when you do a sit-up. So you got vertebra, 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 and you got discs in between. Now if you can see, every time you do a crunchie or a sit-up, how it's pinching the front of the disc. Pinch, pinch, pinch. And when you do that over and over and over again, it causes damage. And eventually this disc can fail, right? So that's why curls and sit-ups, they do work your ab muscles, right? Don't get me wrong. But they cause a lot of wear and tear on the discs in your low back, and this can cause disc damage, and this can cause low back pain, and this is why it's not a good idea to do this exercise. Also, you got a lumbar curve in your low back, right? And you should always maintain this lumbar curve. So sometimes instructors and people will tell you to press your spine to the floor, and pressing your spine to the floor pinches that disc, and it's very unhealthy for your disc. That's a bad thing to do. You should always try and maintain this curve, right? So like in exercises, sometimes during squats or bent over rows, they'll say keep a straight back or keep a neutral back. The whole purpose of that is to maintain this curve so you don't damage your disc. And then if someone says push your spine to the ground, that goes opposite of the previous advice, all right? So crunchies and sit-ups, a bad idea. I haven't done a crunchie or a sit-up in years, and I can see all my ab muscles, they're all there. I'm gonna show you a much better way to do it. So we're gonna start off, I'm gonna show you some exercises, how to strengthen your abs as well as your obliques, as well as the muscles in the back, while protecting your disc, no damage to your disc whatsoever. So you have like a really strong bulletproof torso without any damage. And here's what's cool, by doing all these other exercises, it's strengthening the same muscles, so it makes you better at sit-ups and crunchies without even having to do them. And this is for the general people. I mean, this is for 95 to 99% of people. You know, if you're an MMA fighter and you have to fight off your back, you know, you might need to do some sit-ups. But for the majority of us, there's absolutely no reason to do it. And, you know, even the military is starting to phase them out because their studies have shown that, you know, all these sit-ups cause low back issues. And so, you know, none of this is my opinion. There's really good clinical evidence where they put sensors in the discs and sensors in the muscles. And all this has been shown in labs, how repetitive sit-ups and crunchies damage your low back and they're a bad idea. And so many ab exercises, I mean, it's just a million different variations of the same low back motion. Little different crunches or little different V-ups or little different tweaks that are all a bad idea. So here's what I recommend. The very first one you want to start with is just a plank. So when you're in a plank, you got your elbows straight down, you're nice and straight, and my body is flexed, so I'm not sagging. So my ab muscles are working to keep me stable. And the little trick is if you can flex your butt cheeks, right, you know you're good. If you're up like this, you can't flex your butt cheeks anymore, and you don't want to sag. You can go up on your hands and do the same thing. You can do little shoulder taps back and forth. You can lift the leg. A push-up is great because all a push-up is a moving plank. So push-ups are a phenomenal ab exercise. A lot of people don't even realize it's an ab exercise. So that's level one. And here's the thing with a plank, you know, relax and breathe. And if you get tired, go to your knees for a bit and then right back to a perfect plank, all right? This is like the level one. You should be able to hold a plank for about 2 minutes to be bare minimum. This is a phenomenal exercise. Another great way to do a plank, so maybe come around here, is if you got rings. I love using rings because they're unstable. So doing a plank on rings, and you know, I'm working a lot harder right now. And you can do push-ups on rings, which is really great for your core. And I like to, after I'm burned out on push-ups, just try and hold for a little bit. Like you can't see, but my abs are working so hard. So that's like level one up to level two. Here's a tie for level two. This is one of the greatest exercises ever. So you got a ball, and you're gonna do a front plank on a ball, right? And it's harder than it looks, and it's called stir the pot. So what you wanna try and do is just make little circles with your hands. Little circles. And then go the other way. Trust me, if you try this, you're gonna feel your abs are working so hard. You're almost, like I'm almost shaking. Doing it back and forth. Ab muscles. More challenging is the ab wheel. So these things, it's just like $12 on Amazon. So for an ab wheel, very important. Flex your stomach really hard. What you don't want to do is sag like this. So if you want to flex really hard, so you go out, 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 and then pull it in nice and controlled. If you go like this and you sag and then come back, it can pinch. They're called facet joints in the back of your spine. So these little tiny joints right here. Can you see those? Very, very high nerve count in there. So they're very sensitive. So if you're coming back and you sag and it pinches, that's where you can get that sharp pain in your low back, kind of off to one side. It's like, what'd I do? Same with burpees. A lot of times people come down, they come up like this. So imagine you're coming up and you can pinch down there. Or push-ups, you don't want to do this too often and pinch that. You want to stay nice and straight. So the ab wheel, flex really hard, out, and then back. Great exercise. And two, with the abs. Abs are meant to work all the time. You can do ab stuff pretty much every day because it's an endurance muscle. It's meant to be worked a lot. Another thing I like is you can do it hanging or on some parallel bars. Is just push, bring your legs up and hold, and if you can, bring them out and just hold. A nice static hold. Let's do a chin-up hold. So two things. One, if you just look at people in life, we're like this too often. We're on our phones, we're sitting at a computer, and our shoulders are on forward, and we get this pain back here. A good exercise to combat that and strengthen your abs is palms towards you. Do a chin-up and just hold with your feet out. So I'm squeezing down and back, right? Plus I'm holding. So you can probably see I'm like almost shaking. I'm squeezing so hard. But my abs are flexed as hard as they can be doing that. Plus I'm working my back muscles, so it's great for my back, great for my abs. And you got some arm work in there too. Just hold. Hold as long as you can, 20, 30 seconds, whatever you can do. Let's see, a couple more things. Last, weightlifting. Weightlifting, people don't really like our workouts. One of the things, we're constantly working our abs during our workouts. And let's say you do one arm anything. So let's just say I'm doing a one arm press. So I'm standing and I'm pressing. So my abs over here are working to keep me from falling over, right? So this is a constant ab workout. A one arm swing, right, which we do a lot of. Keep your shoulders square. It's phenomenal for your abs, right? It's one of the best exercises for obliques. Or if we do like a one arm lunge, you just step. So you're working your leg, your shoulders, just grip and holding. Plus you're constantly working your abs. So a great way to work your abs is doing one arm weightlifting. It's very efficient. You're working everything else, plus your abs are working. And one of my favorite cardio exercises, I call it caveman cardio, right? So if you think of humans throughout history for 250,000 years, our species, sapien, was hunter-gatherers. We'd spend tons of time walking and would either be carrying a baby or carrying nuts or carrying wild game. So just grab a weight, head to a bluff and go for a hike, And you don't need much weight because it's very, very hard, but your abs will be working the whole time. And just switch arms as needed and just walk. Or even in a gym, just grab a weight. You can have it here overhead, stay nice and tall, and just walk. So you're working your abs and you're working them to stabilize your spine throughout motions. Great exercise. Here's the deal. If you just do that consistently and make it hard, you're going to start seeing your abs. The one thing too is, if I want to build big arm muscles, I'm going to do heavy weights so my muscles grow a little bit. When you do hard ab exercises, it's the same thing. It can make your muscles grow a little bit. So you want to do challenging things so your muscles grow a little bit so you can start to see the definition. All right, lastly, the most important thing in abs, which is usually neglected, it's always sit up, whatever, is diet. I mean, you got to eat right. I was like, you got to melt the snow to see the trail, right? So I don't care how good your ab muscles look. If they're buried in fat, you're not going to see them. And my secret, without question, is my diet's really good. Like, I really don't cheat, hardly ever, if at all. And the older I get, the stricter I have to be. That's the secret, and that's what's really cool about our program, is I show you exactly how to do that. If you're not eating right, there's no way you're gonna see your abs. You can't target fat loss, right? So you can't, like, doing any sort of ab exercise doesn't melt fat on your abs. It just, you know what I mean? The best way to melt fat is the hard, intense, big muscle groups, squats, thrusters, that sort of thing. You can't just work one area and melt fat right there. I can build muscle, I can target muscle growth in an area, but I can't melt fat. So you have to eat right. That's what we show. That is the most important part, right? The abs are there. You got to melt the snow to see the trail. So if you combine these exercises on a consistent basis, right, with good, healthy eating and portion control, you're gonna start to see your abs for sure. It might take months or a year or some time, but it's really good. Let me show you one more exercise now that I think about it. It's called a bird dog. And this is great for anybody, but especially if you have low back issues. So it works this part of your torso too. So you're on all fours, right? You're gonna put one arm straight out and then one leg straight out. And if you can hold nice and steady, then you want to draw little squares at the same time. So down, over, up, over, down, over, up, over, right? Take a little break, then back at it. Down. It's a really, really good exercise for strengthening and improving your low back. It's just one of the best to start with. So once again, if you're steady, go with that. Let me think. Any other ones I'm missing, Peter? I think literally, guys, if you just do these ones and do them hard, like make it challenging, like if you're doing a hold, it should be really hard. For the ab wheel, these are hard. Every time I do these, I get sore. But I just like to do like sets of, 10 to 12 reps, maybe up to 15 if I'm feeling good. And consistency. Day after day, do your abs, eat good. And it's the best thing you can do. It's the best way. You never have to do a crunchy or a sit-up or a V-up ever again. The absolute worst exercise for abs known to man is the Russian twist. So you're at a half push-up position, so my disc is being pinched, and then I'm twisting, right? So I'm compressing the disc, and I'm twisting the front of it. That is a recipe for disaster. And one thing you have to realize too, it's very important. So you may see online, like gymnasts or people doing certain things that look really cool, and really tiny people can get away with a lot of things. So a good analogy is twigs bend, branches snap. So little tiny people can get away with more. The average person or a thicker person, instead of bending, you're gonna break, right? So be careful what you see online. Sometimes when you see a little tiny, 110 pound guy doing some really cool looking stuff, he can get away with it, but we shouldn't be trying that stuff. So avoid the crunchies, avoid the sit-ups, avoid the Russian twists, do the exercise I showed you, and then eat really clean. If you're not sure how to eat clean, come learn from us. We'll show you how to eat clean. And that is the best thing you can possibly do. And you'll see your abs all the time. I think that's good.